Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unleash with Megan, the podcast where we dive deep into the art and science of overcoming challenges and achieving extraordinary results. I'm your host, Megan Rovnak. I am so excited today to be joined by Alex Veka, owner of Vibe Adventures. What a cool concept he has, and I cannot wait for him to share with you his background, his life, and why Vibe Adventures is the thing he wants to be doing. Alex, can you share a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Megan. Thanks for having me here today. Hi, everyone. My name is Alex, and as I remember myself, I have been always fascinated by traveling since like a very young age. I remember my first trips with my family when we went to the sea in summer, and then my first experience being, let's say, further away alone by myself when I was a teenager. And I think that was a time when something changed in my life, and I already knew what I wanna do in my life, or at least which direction I wanna go. And this was actually discovering the world, like traveling as much as I can. That's why at university I decided to study tourism, and then I traveled a lot as in all stages of my life as a backpacker, hitchhiker, later on a little bit more, let's say, comfortable ways of traveling. But since ever I remember myself, I was fascinated about the world, about its diversity, about the beauty of the world. And I just realized, okay, the world is so beautiful. If we can move around and we can see new places, why don't other people do it? And okay, maybe they don't want to do it, but I do it. And that's when I found the purpose for my life, is basically to discover as much of the world as I can. And later on it changed the concept a little bit through what I'm currently doing with my team, is helping others to discover as much of the world as possible, and not just discover it in a, let's say, superficial, but more, let's say, deeper and authentic way.
That's so cool. So tell us a little bit when you're talking about a deeper and more authentic way. What are you talking about when you say that? And why is that kind of experience something that you think other people should have the opportunity to do?
Basically, I got this idea when I was a student, traveling a lot, with a very low budget. So you want it or no, you have to communicate with local communities. You have to find your ways. So often I found myself in the middle of really incredible adventures that I would never have if I would go on some, let's say, commercial tour with a big bus and so on. That's the advantage of traveling independently or in small groups. And so in my perspective, there are so many people that miss, let's say, the main one of the main let's say, benefits of tourism. According to the World Tourism Organization, one of the, let's say, main goals of tourism is to be like a diplomatic tool to merge cultures and countries together, to stir the stereotypes. Because whenever you travel, you learn about local people, you understand how close and how similar we are instead of how different we are. We are the same race. Maybe we have different diets, we speak different languages, we might look a little bit different, but it's the same values, and that's something that should unite us. So meeting local people, communities, getting in touch with their culture and core values, in my perspective, is one of the most important things we can do while traveling. And a lot of people, unfortunately, especially on like big bus tours, when there is like, you have quickly, we see it here, then we go here 15 minutes for photos, and then we follow up. They are missing it. So I think a more authentic way of traveling, if we travel in, let's say, in groups as an organized tourism, it would be smaller groups with local guides, with visiting local locations, trying to see not only mainstream places, going to, let's say, mainstream restaurants and so on, but also visiting smaller villages, communities, going to mom and dad shops, restaurants, and so on.
So I feel like all of this traveling that you've done and this passion that you have for it and this passion that you have to help other people experience it You've got to have some good traveling stories in your past. Do you have any great, like, memorable stories about something that happened or an experience that you had or an adventure that you had that would be a great story to share with the audience?
There were so many. I don't know. Maybe um I remember a long time ago hitchhiking with the brother of the Prime Minister of Sweden when I was 16. Then
That's a good
sleeping
one.
and
That's a good
hearing
one.
the bears in the middle of the national park in Croatia, or staying not planning, but just staying for a couple of days in the middle of Chinese mountains, just because the life brought me there, and meeting new people and actually making friendship that would last for more years ahead.
Well, that's fantastic. So, as you've gone through this journey and made these decisions and sort of had some really amazing experiences along the way, what are some important lessons that you've learned as you've built up a business, as you've traveled the world? What's like a good lesson that you would want other people to be able to take away?
I think uh, probably like the first and most important step is to listen to yourself, listen to your true passion, being honest to yourself, and letting this passion go with you, letting this passion make you happier. Yeah. I think this is the first step. And maybe the second step, as soon as we let this passion, let's say, get out of us and start empowering us, and it's just being persistent, and doing with passion what you really love doing, and often not listening to, let's say, negative or pessimistic feedback of some other people, because we might feel pressure, and some people could tell us, no, it's too complicated, why don't you? But I think here is it's maybe like a little bit philosophical, but when we do it, it's kind of like betraying our own self, our own life, and borrowing it to other people. We will, instead of living our own life, we let ourselves live other people's lives, because we follow their, let's say, their advices. Yeah, so I think we should be very honest to ourselves, to know what is our passion, and then whenever we find it out, to truly follow it, and at some point everything is going to be the way it should be. But even whatever the result, if you follow your passion, the main treasure is the journey, not the destination.
Always a good one. The treasure is the journey, not the destination. I love alliteration. And what I heard you say is be persistent in your personal passion. Those were sort of the three key things that I took away from what you just said. Like, don't give up, be persistent. Make sure it's your personal passion, not what somebody else does or loves or what somebody else told you should do or love, but truly what drives you. And of course, passion, your personal passion, is that thing that just excites you, right? I mean, your story and all of the travel you've done, and it seems like it was from just a young age, you were like, this is what I want to do. This is what I love doing. And to be able to turn that into a business, I think people can take a lot away from that. So, was it easy? You were like, I want to do a travel business. I'm just going to do it. Like, was it easy, or did you have any challenges you had to face as you were going through that?
Uh, it was not easy, because it involved hours and days and weeks and years of work, but it was enjoyable. It's the kind of journey that you really enjoy because you do it with passion. So, I mean, for example, when I do it and I'm working on some project, I imagine the value that it could bring. I imagine how it could, let's say, improve, the current situation, the people's lives, and so on. And it gives me energy. So I don't feel tired. I don't feel bored doing what I'm doing, just because I love what I'm doing.
That's fantastic. So I want to jump back because I really want to dive a little deeper into at least one of your stories because they were all three really interesting sounding stories, right? The prime minister's son or brother?
A brother, according to
Brother,
him. Yeah.
right? That's a great one. So how did that happen? You were just like, this is going to be a hitchhiking trip, and you were hitchhiking, and he happened to be the one that pulled over. Like, how did that go?
I was 16 years old, and I was in a small town in Sweden, in central Sweden, a couple of hours away from Stockholm, and on some um, ecological investigation trip. It was like academic trip in summer for 1 month, and yeah, at some point, with a couple of friends that I met there, let's say high school students, we went to a nearby city just to discover it. And we decided, okay, let's. And Sweden is Scandinavia is, maybe you heard that the prices there might be a little bit like higher. But what happened is that we just missed the last bus, and we're like, hey, can we come back? And it's not like 5 kilometers; it was like maybe like 30 kilometers or something like this. So we decided, okay, let's hitchhike. Like we have no other chance. And there was this beautiful, nice. There were three of us, if I'm not mistaken, like sport car, and he picked us up, the guy, and like we started talking, and like I don't know, I don't remember at which point, but he told, hey, by the way, like yeah, I need to actually stop here, but you're a cool guy, so I'm gonna drop you exactly, and then I come back, and it appeared to be he, like as I remember, as to my knowledge, to my memory, is like, oh, I'm like my brother is a prime minister. I don't remember if it was past prime minister at current situation. That was in mid 2000s. Yeah, this 2006, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, when
What
it
a
happened.
fun experience.
Yeah, it was
And
a
so
quick
now you're
ride,
happy you
but
missed
it
that
was.
last bus, right? Sometimes they can be happy accidents.
I think any experience that you have in your knowledge, in your memory, and can make you smile and can make you, feel positive. I think that's one of the gems. And for some people, that's the way mm, how life, what's like the purpose of life is. Let's say to collect memories, because at some point when we might not be that, let's say, movable and to move around and so on, at least we could travel in our memories. And that's something, whenever you remember some nice event from the past, you kind of like relive it, and it makes you feel the same.
Yeah, it's funny. What you just said reminded me of a quote, and I'm sure I'm going to get it wrong, and I don't remember who said it, but I loved it, and I still love it today. Life is something that you live twice. First, you live it going forward, and then you live it looking backwards when you're older, and you remember all this. I think you're right. Like you're writing the book now that you're going to read later when you're
Yeah,
older. So write a book that you want to read.
yeah,
So
that's a
what
nice
it would
one.
be a challenge, you said that there was definitely challenges, some long hours. Did you have any like specific hurdles that you remember starting your business that was just like, oh, that one was a tough one to get over. I'm sure happy I made it. Do you recall any that were particularly challenging, and how did you overcome it?
I think one of the one of the initial challenges I remember was lack of customers. I think it's probably one of the main challenges from the very beginning when you start the business, that you do it for the first time and everything is new to you, and at some point you can start thinking, oh, so when is the customers are coming. I mean, I did my website, I registered business, I got my bank account, I got the license, I got like everything, social media, and so how, when it starts. And I think when you get your first customer, that's that's the time when you feel, oh, everything was worth it. All the, let's say, weeks, months, because on average, it's between, I don't know, half a year, 1 year, when the, let's say, the return of investment comes, and when you start generating profit from the new business. I mean, of course it depends on the industry, but let's say in my case it was probably almost half a year, yeah, when since the beginning, since buying the domain, since getting account, license, everything was like going step by step, generating some some itineraries, tours, and so on. But I think that was the first initial challenge, because all the rest is it's much more predictable. It's just like logistical steps, one by one, because you investigate what is necessary and you just do it. Just investment of time with clear goals, kind of like little steps. But this one is like, let's say that's the first milestone. Okay, your first customer, and whenever you get the first customer, it's like you just replicate it, and then you move on.
So 6 months, that can feel like a long time to people. What kept you like, I'm doing this. Nope, I'm not giving up. Month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. Like, how did you push through that?
I think mostly passion. From one point of view, it's passion, because I knew that that's exactly what I want to do in my life. That's how we started as a small group tour operator in Mexico. It was 2018, let's say, end of summer 2018. And of course, it took a while until the website was like well looking enough, and we listed in some online tour operators that also help the sales. And I think the second one is like more technical. It's just having enough time, and to have enough time, you need to work, either not work, let's say as an employee, or work part-time. So I had some savings. This is something that, from the previous, let's say, full-time job that helped me initially. And then at some point I was doing also a part-time job. I was teaching. So that also helped. So, but whenever I felt that, okay, the business is just, it needs more time, and it's working more stable, and I can dedicate full time to it, I just jumped to this opportunity as soon as I could.
That's fantastic. So if somebody was interested in the kind of tours that you provide, where should they go? Like, how should they get in touch with you?
They can check our website, vibadventures.com, to get inspired by, we create, content, blog articles with tips and stories regularly. We have tours in Mexico and Central America, and soon we are launching a new multi-day dynamic packaging tool, where it will be possible to literally book adventures, multi-day organized adventures all around the world, and combine them with flights.
Well, that's fantastic. So vibeadventures.com, that's amazing. And I love the be persistent in your personal passion. Like, it feels like from this conversation, that's really what pushed you through. So for me, that's a great takeaway, and always a good reminder. I think a lot of us out there know that, but sometimes you can get bogged down in the day to day. And just having that reminder, kind of having a little poke come along and have somebody be like, hey, don't give up. Be persistent. That passion that you have, that drive that you have, it is there for a reason. I think that's a really great takeaway for people to have. And then the other one that I really like is the journey, not the destination, or the way that I was thinking about it, right? Write the book today that you're going to want to read tomorrow, because that's how you should be living your life. So that's awesome. Alex, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. I love hearing your story. I love it when people live their passion and they go out and they share that with people. And the idea that you have with Vibe Adventures to make it less touristy and more experience, like real authentic experience for people traveling, I think is fantastic. Do you have any final comments for the listeners today?
Thanks a lot for being here with us, and thanks a lot, Megan, for inviting me to be part of
Absolutely.
this.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. This has been fantastic. And everybody, I hope you have a magnificent day.